Hi, and welcome to Punks on Film. My name is Lawrence Punk Larry, and this is my co-host Matthew. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's been a crazy week.
Did you just wake up by any chance? I may have passed out for a short bit and woke up to Matthew asking where I'm at and everything's okay. Only to have me in a panic.
I
But I
took my
mean,
nap earlier today. I shouldn't have, but I did.
well, you know what? I was trying to upload that video, so and
Oh yeah,
I didn't even feel that tired. So that's even stranger to be honest.
yeah,
Usually, again, Mondays I need that nap,
yeah.
but I didn't even seem that tired. I'm like, I'm just gonna lay down, and I mean, I don't even think I actually closed my eyes till probably about the time that I would normally jump on here and start chatting with you, which is normally around like 9:30. So if you are wondering, that is how it does go. Listen, you do as much as many streams, work full time. As
Yeah,
much as I hate naps, and I usually do, like I feel groggy after a nap normally, but
yeah.
like Monday nights, it's essential. Like I have to, which probably why I can't talk. You know, normally once I get to what that in that third hour, I'm mumbling through words and stuff. So, how's everything been with you? I know you've had a hell of a week, and
it's been fun. But catching up on some TV watching and stuff.
yeah, have you been? I have not been. I found myself kind of forgetting TV and like, catching up, like watching Blue Bloods because I'm like last
Oh
season I
yeah,
have to enjoy it.
yeah.
It's only been 14 seasons, I think, it's something like that.
Well, we finally got started on Shogun. That series is awesome. I love that one.
What is that?
So it was a book that was written a long time ago that was adapted in the early 80s. I think it's 82 with Richard Chamberlain as a TV miniseries. And now they're doing this TV miniseries. And it is, I mean, it's the best parts of Game of Thrones, but in feudal Japan,
Okay,
uh, taking
what?
taking place over kind of real events, and it has to do with the English coming over and trying to English and Dutch, the Dutch really trying to set up trade relations, but the Portuguese are trying to stop them because the Portuguese are infiltrating the nation of Japan as Catholics, trying to take over the government or install Catholic leaders. And then the English and the Dutch are trying to come over there and bring Protestants in, and they have to fight the Catholics while trying to infiltrate or get a foothold in Japan just for commerce or trade. And so everybody's got their subplots as to what they're trying to do and where they're trying to go with it.
What channel? Because
It's
what?
on Hulu.
Okay, yeah, because it keeps popping up. That's
Yeah.
I knew it sounded familiar. Um,
And
is
then finally saw Dune 2.
and what did you think?
It was a solid movie. I really liked it. It's a 8.5 out of 10. I loved the vast majority of it. The worst part was Zendaya. I don't think she can act, and they completely changed her character from what she's supposed to be. And so that was a little jarring to see that kind of difference. But everybody else killed it. It was
Was
awesome.
it anything like the first one?
I mean, yes and no. I mean, it's a continuation of the story, but I think it's the more interesting part of the story.
I thought the first one was boring.
Yeah.
Kids thought the same thing. Kept falling asleep.
Yeah.
It's
I,
one thing
I,
if I fall asleep, but if my kids are also falling asleep, and I don't know why I'm slurring my words, I'm not drunk. My kids
I
are
can
falling asleep.
I can totally see that. I thought this one was engaging the entire time. There are lots of battles in this one, so it's uh, a lot of conflict is going on, and you see the rise to prominence, of Paul Moedim Atreides, and how that whole thing is kind of growing and how he fears it, and you know, I they did a really good job with it. I think it's really more interesting than the first one. But I love both of them because I love the book. So
Yeah, and again, I know Blade Runner. I found boring. Like I'm just like,
yeah,
this is not interesting to me, and I know people love it, but for me, I just found it uninteresting. And that was both Blade Runners. I tried watching them, and like this is boring. All right, so is the chat working for anyone besides Allison? Because I mean,
well,
even if we
I
don't
saw
have
that
a lot,
we had a handful of people in there, and thank you, Allison, for being a member for 10 months.
all right,
Oh, there we go.
all right. I was just wondering because I can see that there's a few people watching, but I'm like, usually people start saying hi. I'm like, we just talking to each other.
And Masters of Air has been really good. They've gotten into an interesting part of the story historically that I'm familiar with. And then Resident Alien returned recently, which that show's funny.
Okay, so that keeps popping up, and I'm like, should I watch this? Um, I mean,
Resident Alien or Masters of Air?
Resident Alien,
Yeah.
because I mean, I love Steve the pirate.
I love Alan Tudyk. He's a Richardson native, so he grew up right around the corner from here. Um, and I like watching his stuff. I thought he's done a really good job. The last season was kind of dull. This one has got some more intrigue. They brought in some more characters and took away one of the characters that I don't know, but they're getting into the other alien races and what their
Oh,
plots and schemes are on the planet.
I didn't realize it's been out that long. It just pops up on it's on Netflix, right?
Sci-Fi Channel.
Oh, maybe that's the reason. Because I think it keeps popping up on Netflix. I think Netflix is showing probably past seasons.
Oh,
That's
maybe.
why I probably didn't realize that there was
Yeah,
that many seasons.
yeah. It does say uh, Netflix on here. That's interesting. I didn't know it was on Netflix. We're
So,
in season 4. I don't know. I thought we were in season 3. I don't know.
Woody wants to know if you've watched Rebel Moon. I
I
don't know.
have no desire to watch
I
Rebel
don't
Moon.
know if
I'm
this is
not
a
going to
joke.
watch Rebel Moon. I've heard nothing good about Rebel Moon. It seems like a less than mediocre film stuck in the slow mo Snyderverse. So you could cut out probably a third to half of the movie if you just played it real time.
And Wraith Mace sends a $5 super chat. Thank you, Punk.
Thank you.
Notifications will go up soon. He is talking about for his live stream tomorrow.
Nice.
Normally we don't, normally I don't promote it. Listen, I really been pushing Wraith. Matter of fact, I messaged him earlier today asking because I was looking for it because I do want to put it up, and I do want to put it out on my
Yeah.
Instagram. And again, uh, as I've told you guys before, don't ever come into not just my chat, to anyone's chat and promote your own stuff. Nobody was here to. Nobody is in someone else's live stream to see you talk about your stuff. But Wraith has been such a good guy that just came in out of nowhere.
Yep.
You
I
know,
think his channel is going to blow up. I think Warhammer is on the cusp of being one of the most popular things in the world right now. If they can keep control of that IP without letting, was it the Sweet Baby get involved with it, I think you're good. If Henry Cavill still has a piece of it, the lore, the books, the games are so deep, and people are so passionate about it that as soon as he starts talking about it, he's going to gain a following, and that following is going to grow like wildfire, especially if Havel gets this TV series out. It's going to blow up.
yeah, and like I said, you don't go promoting your stuff on other people's stuff, but he's been such a good someone who came in out of nowhere. And I know people, I think from toy connections and stuff like that. But always supportive, throws super chats all the time. Became a member, but when you see him again, you've watched him on the streams when he's been on the streams.
Yeah.
He has such a passion for it.
Yep.
But like what I'm saying is, you play by the rules, and someone sees that you're trying to work hard, they will push you,
Mm-hmm.
and because they want you to succeed, man. That's how it's supposed to be. So, you will see me pushing out that tonight as soon as I see it. So hopefully,
Can't wait. That'll be a
on
good stream
watch
tomorrow.
it. I was going to do a members only Punk's Pit tomorrow, but I'm going to push it back at least a week because I want him to have no competition from someone that he's supported as much as he's supported. So
Yeah.
and then Bounty Killer Customs. Don't think I didn't notice you because you came in. I noticed you followed both Instagrams, and I think you made a comment or two on one of the other videos. So I definitely saw you, man. So thanks a lot for being here. This is not about toys. So don't don't bug out when you're like, hey, this isn't toys. This is actually about our movie channel. So
Not that it doesn't come up from time to time, but
well, yeah. And then Shane quickly says, Warhammer is just amazing. Nothing can touch it. Whoa. We don't say mean things like that against G.I. Joe. It's played in every country on the planet.
I mean, the lore is deep. The lore is incredible. You can get into all kinds of different factions. Any kind of storyline you want to look for is probably in there at some form or fashion. So there's a lot to like about it, and it is popular worldwide. I know the Brits go nuts for it.
Yeah, and you read this. This is why America is so powerful and awesome, because we have our military somewhere in every single country doing something. All right. Okay, so let's get into this. What do you think? I know we've all seen The Naked Gun.
So what I knew this was based off of a TV show. I didn't realize the TV show was only 6 episodes long. I thought it went on for longer than that. But so the movie is titled "The Naked Gun" from the files of Police Squad, and Police Squad was the TV series. I've never seen an episode of the TV series, but when this movie came out, I remember watching it, and I remember kind of enjoying it. I liked the second one better than this one, maybe because it had more OJ in it. I don't know. He was just funny. But I don't know. Watching it this time, I was mostly bored.
I still like this movie a lot.
It has some funny moments for sure.
I will say that watching it again, you really get some of these movies just kind of the scenes mixed up. And it's not spoiling anything, but the scenes, I believe, is 2, which is what's the scenes on the steps? With the OJs in it. The scenes on the steps is from what movie is that from? The 4 police officers that go after, I believe, the mob.
The Untouchables.
Yeah, the Untouchables.
Yeah.
When the baby goes flying up and OJ catches
Yes.
it and he does the dance and he's about to slam it, like
yes.
Again, I miss not seeing that.
Yep, I think that's in 2.
But as you go through it, you kind of forget what's not in it, because they really do start to blend together, because they've been so long and they're so very similar in many ways.
Yeah.
But
there are definitely unforgettable scenes in this for sure.
Yeah, and listen, I hate the fact that I like anything that OJ did.
Right. Exactly.
allegedly what he did, but I think we all know a little bit more than allegedly. But well, let's get into this because
So
the
yeah,
beginning.
remember this movie was made by the Zuckers, like we voted on last time, and David Zucker was also part of making Police Academy, and so they had to do what they could to separate it. Otherwise, they were getting into copyright stuff too. So this opening scene is quite hilarious, especially if you understand and know who all of these people are. There's only one or two I couldn't identify.
And there's the same one or two that I couldn't identify as a kid. Um,
Well,
yes,
honestly, I know who they all are except for the guy in the like plain business suits. The except for Gorbachev, I know who that is. But there's two other guys in plain business suits. I'm like, who the heck is that supposed to be?
um, yes, Allison pointed this out before. It is nice to know that in these, OJ gets his ass beat.
The entire time.
He gets taken to Detroit underneath the bus.
Yes.
But
Yeah, but we start off in Beirut with the Ayatollah Khomeini, Yasser Arafat, Fidel Castro, Michael Gorbachev, Idi Amin, and Muammar Gaddafi all hanging out in a room plotting the destruction of America.
and and the fact that the guy that's just going to try and eliminate or assassinate the queen or wants the queen assassinated is there.
Yeah.
He's just like one that doesn't fit in there. But yes, there weren't a lot of scenes, or wasn't a lot to get picture wise here. But as he's going through, and even as a kid, I laughed at this.
Oh yeah.
Like he can't take it no more. He's shaking.
Yeah. He's got to do something.
He burns his hand. It's like, and the funniest thing is, he's just part of police squad.
Yep. What's he doing in another country? And the only thing that he is there for is to tell them, don't come to my country. Wipes off the birthmark on Gorbachev's head.
He says, I knew it.
I knew it.
Because that's the one thing you do remember about Gorbachev.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is the one thing that I will always remember. Because we were young at the time, so I wasn't into politics.
More.
But yeah, I don't think most people probably remember who Gaddafi is.
Well, I mean, if you grew up in the 80s, you probably know who most of these people are. Idi Amin may be a little more subdued, but Gaddafi, you should know who Gaddafi is.
No, but I'm saying today. Like,
oh yeah, today, nah, wouldn't
like,
have any idea.
I mean, does he have a historical place that younger people really go, oh yeah, that guy, he did a lot of damage? Like, we all know who Hitler is.
I mean, you look at him and you think, Evita or something. You're thinking, obviously he's a dictator of some kind.
Yeah. But I love the scene. I mean, it's so stupid.
So stupid. Love this with the pink hair mohawk underneath.
It's stuff like this that is like, it made no sense whatsoever. But as a kid, all you could do was laugh about it.
Exactly.
Because you don't understand, you understand bad people, right? Like how we were playing G.I. Joe, so we knew the bad people.
Right. Yep.
And after he beats everyone up, he tells them not to come back or not to come to America.
Don't come to America.
Kicks the door open. Hits him in the head for no reason. Like,
and then right at the end, after he leaves, who steps out of the shadows but Khan Noonien Soong? I mean, Ricardo Montalban from Fantasy Island.
I watched the whole thing and I didn't even think about Fantasy Island. But I did.
I'm surprised they didn't make the plane joke or something.
But I did think about Khan the whole time. It's impossible not to.
Yeah.
God, he was such an amazing villain and actor.
Yep.
That voice is amazing. So then I found this. And yes, the things are hidden, so there's nothing to worry about being demonetized. I
Oh
thought
yeah, the background stuff, always fun.
yes, I love the beginning of all three of these. It's just fun. Like
Yeah.
it's fun. It's I mean, even for back then, there was an old style police siren.
Well, yeah, and so that takes me back to Dukes of Hazzard because they had a police car with that kind of siren on it, and this was basically the intro to Police Squad, the
Yes.
TV show.
Now that I do remember for sure. Uh, all right, this is not political. But this is funny. This is what people think Trump is gonna do. It is, oh my god, Wade, you had nailed it. Like again, not political, but just like dead on. Like that's exactly like people think he's gonna like show up there, get them all into one place, and beat them all up.
Yep, punch him right out.
But I think these are so cool, and they get more outrageous. I think as the movies go along.
Oh yeah,
And in case you are wondering, this Star Wars scene is not in this one.
yeah,
It isn't. It isn't another one, and that's why we don't discuss it.
yeah.
Or don't show it. So there's. I'm sorry. This scene, like the moment I see it coming up, I start laughing.
Yeah, it's just so dumb. I mean, you get to the L.A. Harbor, the heroin exchange. The whole thing is just. I mean, it's all sneaky, but it's all goofy and campy, and then right at the end, it's so ridiculous.
So he goes to kick in the door and just goes right through it. And the fact that
And
you see
get
all of that,
stuck.
they're all looking at him with the leg just through it. He pulls it out. um, pulls his badge out, which again, right here is just. This is just funny in general to think.
He's all by himself with a
And no,
badge and a pistol.
doesn't call him for backup.
No backup. Nobody else is there. These guys have automatic weapons.
Tells them all to drop the weapon, and one guy throws it
One
down.
guy does it.
And they all look at him.
What are you doing? He's like, oh, okay, I better pick that back up.
And again, I wish we could. I wish we could show the movie. But
Yeah. Well, and so that's the hard thing to take notes on this is because everything is so contextual.
yes,
It's a challenge. There's Viper Scout. Ricardo Montalban was in an episode of Police Squad. During the credits, they would just freeze instead of freezing on the frame. He was being arrested at the end and got confused when everybody just stopped.
really. Man, now I want to watch.
So instead of doing a freeze frame, they just all the actors froze.
So they start shooting him. Yeah.
What is that? And then he just tried to escape because everybody was stopped moving. Just standing there.
See, now, and now I feel like we got to go watch Police Squad.
That might be harder to find.
Yeah, well, I own these, believe it or not. I own
Yeah.
all three of them, and God, he did. Liam Neeson did another movie. It was like one of those 4-packs for like $5 or something.
Oh, I love those.
A while back. There's another police one that he did. I can't remember what it's called. I don't know. It's downstairs.
Yeah.
But all the things that he goes to, the wet paint,
Yeah.
the bear trap.
The sight gags are just hilarious, and they get stupider and stupider as they go on.
So I had to. This one popped up, and I want you guys to understand. This is what happened to all my Star Wars figures. I put them in the windowsill, and then I slammed it down as hard as I could, and I popped off all their heads. And never until 2 days later, 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 2 days later 2 days ago when I watched this again, then I go, that's what I did. So I had to. I'm so glad it popped up when I was looking for pictures. But yeah, he had got in the bear trap and everything. What was the? There was something else that he did too. There's the bear trap.
There's several different things, and then he's got
Oh,
getting stupider.
uh, the uh, the fireplace.
Yeah,
He burned it, and then he finally jumps off the boat into the water. And then we get the plane scene,
the
which
plane.
this was this was so good because you didn't see it happening.
Yeah.
You know, like he walks up like he's being brought back.
Well,
Just
I
walks
mean,
up.
you can tell that all this pomp and circumstance isn't for him because they're all confused when he's like, "No, thank you," or whatever.
Yeah. Well, you get it more now, but as a kid, it's like he just shows up and he gives a speech, which is all based on him being mad over the fact that he just got dumped. Which there's some things that don't make sense with being dumped because he talks like he got dumped while he was gone, but then he references like he was gone on this police squad mission.
Yeah.
Um, but
Well, and then they go into ex-wives and they get into all kinds of stories, but his boss is like, this isn't this is awkward. It's getting awkward.
yeah, I'm doing this for you, and this is where we say Weird Al. And these films were being filmed around the same time. And if you look at him, the girl that he's with, was that his girlfriend in real life at the time?
I don't know.
Okay.
There's a lot I don't know about him. I want to see the movie Weird, but you got to know that the movie Weird is a parody of those docudrama movies. So most of it isn't true.
Yeah, I don't. Were you the one that told me, or was someone else that told me that?
I don't know. I may have.
someone. I don't know if it was you. Someone was telling me they're like it's a parody.
Yep.
Which is perfect. I mean, that is that's perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, that is Weird Al right there. Like,
yep.
Here's a docudrama of me, but it's a parody. But I totally forgot that Weird Al was in this.
So did I. Until I saw him. As soon as he came out, I was like, oh, that's perfect.
When he walked up to it, when he walked up and started giving the speech, I'm like, oh my God, Weird Al is in this before they showed it. Because all I could hear was his boss saying, no, it's for Weird Al's on the plane.
Yeah.
So Viper Scout says the Naked Gun recycled a lot of jokes from Police Squad.
Yeah, I'm sure they did because it's all the same. It's the same kind of concept. They wanted to keep a through line. Man,
so I did not get a shot of the boobs, and if you know what I'm talking about, it's the two. I don't even know what they were. They're usually salt places here.
But, yeah, I mean they look like some form of storage facility for some kind of grain or salt or whatever.
He's asking about the wedding, which I thought it was odd that his boss and best friend went to the wedding.
Yeah.
That she married a gymnast and it's the best sex she's ever had. He's like rattling off the absolute worst things you would ever want to hear about your ex, who I'm assuming left him while he was on this mission, found someone, married them. It seemed to come pretty fast.
Well, I mean, if you're paying attention and going along with the whole storyline, while he was with this woman, she was, I don't know if they were actually together or not, because she didn't seem very interested in him because she was definitely fooling around with a whole bunch of other people.
Yeah. And the one thing we will see, we have talked about how time has no matter, has no place in They Live. I'm in this one. It's even better because their first date is amazing.
Yes.
But when they're talking about Nordberg in this line here, just doctors say Nordberg has a 50 chance of living, though there's only a 10% chance of that. Like, so that's like a 5% chance, right? um, so there were a few things that I didn't catch. So I think they get right to the hospital, right?
Yep.
And Nordberg starts telling him, "I love you."
Yep.
Drugs. Nurse, he needs more drugs. Heroin. It's a tall order. You got to give it a couple days. It's so awesome because he's like looking around like, that's a tall order. Like, it's just like, again, I think this is again one of those movies that it's funnier when you're sitting with your friends watching it.
Yeah, I would
Like,
agree.
you can laugh at it, but when you're sitting with your friends and you start repeating the jokes, that's when you start really having fun with it.
For sure.
But
oh, this is awkward too.
there's a few things that, yeah, like they start going back and forth.
Well, because they suspect him of being involved with the drug trade, right?
Yes, but
Nordberg dealing H? No.
And then he says that he's welcome back on the police force when he's better, unless if he's a drooling vegetable. But I think that goes without saying. And his wife is like crying and shit. Again, I also found it funny that they found a black woman to play his wife, but that's a whole other story. That's Monday morning quarterback there. And after he goes and tells them that no police officer will rest till they find these people.
Let's go grab some lunch.
They all go like but yeah, like they were like he starts going on about like that's no way to die, and he goes into different ways that he thinks is a better way to die.
Way to die. Yeah, like that's helpful.
and her looks are awesome. Like she
Yeah.
has like this horrific look, and he just has that blank. Again, Leslie Nielsen did some. We talked about it with Airplane. How like when he repeated the Shirley jokes.
Yep.
And he just had I could not have done it.
He is the straight man. I mean, he is just no effect. No.
There's got to be a documentary that talks about it and says like if he was really that good at it, or if it was like 100 takes, but he went through this stuff so well, and I'd be dying. I wouldn't be.
Then didn't he go meet Ricardo?
No, I think it's after this. Let's see here. Oh, I did leave out the luggage. I love they hit the luggage and they show.
Well, they dragged the luggage with them from the airport all the way to the hotel because they were going to go meet with. Oh, that was the hospital. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So they go for the press conference to the Queen, because that's when he tells them, I want every every available police officer, and he tells them they can't because they have security for the Queen.
Yep.
And then this happens. Now, have you seen how this really did happen? I don't know how long ago it was, but it happened at like at one of those, council meetings where the person forgot to take the stuff, and the lady continued to try and fight through it. She couldn't stop laughing. Like she did her best, and it was kind of like nothing I can do. But you see the foreshadowing of him drinking all that water.
All that water. Yep.
And then his microphone doesn't work, and he's given one that does work, and then he leaves
without taking the mic off to go use the potty.
Her looks
Now,
are amazing.
I know I can't figure out why she wasn't the one playing the queen. I'm just saying, she should have been playing the queen.
Yeah, she probably does look more like the queen than the woman that played the queen.
Yeah.
She actually really does. Like I'm looking at her, like especially now that you point that out. Um, her timing is really good in this. I think like
Yes.
her timing in this is really good, but her horrified looks. I mean, they make this whole scene. He's just, and we've all been listen. We've all been next to someone that has done this, right? Like I don't get embarrassed by stuff, but I'm still like I do watch when I'm in the restroom. Like try not to be that guy.
Right. Well, you try not to be that guy because it's happened to you. You've been next to that guy before, and you're like, I'm
Oh
never going to be that guy.
yeah, yeah. And the worst thing is, a lot of these guys now just talk on the phone anyway, and you're like, dude,
What the hell? I don't know.
like,
No.
can't you turn it off? um, but yeah, she just kind of gives up. She's like, oh god. And then we get them going to see where Nordberg was shot, and
Oh yeah, with the outline in the water.
okay, I did not understand this as a kid. Like I didn't fully grasp it until I started to get older and was like, oh wait. First off, he didn't die. He didn't die, so there's no chalk outline.
Right.
But the fact that it's in the water. And this is well, it's not the first time, but the second time he hits something in the car because he hits the guy fishing on the fishing on the.
Yep.
We see that a lot. But he asks about if he wants to take the dinghy out, and he says, "No, I've already taken care of myself."
Yeah.
I don't think I ever really caught that one until now. I take care of myself at the press conference. You need to go out, buddy. All right, hold on.
Yeah, no, it's funny. This whole thing when they're going through looking for, you know, clues or evidence or just walking through what's going on. The internal monologue that Leslie Nielsen has on occasion kind of trips you up sometimes because he's like talking and then they do the internal monologue, but they don't change his vocal tonation at all. His lips aren't moving, but he's still talking. So it's like, are we supposed to hear that? Or are they supposed to hear that?
Yeah, Viper Scott is right. He never stops the car without hitting something.
Right. Yeah. That's how he knows when he's supposed to stop.
Isn't that how? Yeah, that's just how. I'm not going to say it. This scene will always crack me up. When he goes to try and get some information.
Oh, yeah.
And he starts arguing with this guy. Because he's telling me that guy was dealing H. And then the guy keeps like, okay, maybe he wasn't, but he was doing this, and he starts bribing him like we've seen in cop shows, but he gives him some money, and then he's like, why should I tell you? How about this?
And then he has given him the money back, and then he has to borrow money to give him the rest of the money.
And he's like, "Do you have 20 I can borrow?" He's like, "Here you go." Here.
So all in all, the guy that was being questioned forked over an extra $40 to Frank.
Yes.
If you watch the exchanges back and forth, they're not even.
Yes. That's why he has to borrow money from him.
Right.
But this is how he finds out about Ludwig.
Yep.
This is when he goes to visit Ludwig.
Cuban? No, Dutch Italian or Dutch Irish.
That's right. Go ahead with that whole thing.
No, I don't know the whole thing, but this is just the most insane thing ever. He's showing off his incredible collection of artwork and fighting fish, and how he has this weird attraction to fighting fish. And later on, we understand more about his proclivities from Jane, and then the pen that's super special, and the insanity that ensues.
This part here is that person that is the biggest showboat. That we all have a friend that's like that, right? They have to show you, they have to tell you how much everything costs. This is him. The fish costs $20,000.
$20,000 for fighting fish,
which is expensive. But then you got to think that this is back in 1988.
Yep.
Or 86 or 87 when they were filming.
Yep.
Way more. So you're probably talking about $100,000 fish today.
Right. And this is also when his character finds out that Nordberg's alive, but he's not talking just yet. And so that sets up a whole nother plot line.
And that might be the reason why there was the chalk outline.
They were trying to, let the media know that he was dead.
Hey. First off, he was in Fantasy Island. He also talked about the Caribbean leather in the Cordoba. But you are absolutely correct. He's awesome.
He's the most interesting man in the world. He probably drinks Dos Equis, right?
Yes. And he's one of the greatest villains of all time.
Absolutely.
And Tony doesn't like this movie, and he says, "Hey, let me know when you are watching a real movie."
All right, next week we still doing. All right, 2 weeks from now we still doing Billy Jack. It'll be Tony and Action Figs.
You guys do whatever you want. I'm not gonna be here. you guys do whatever the fuck you want, because I'm not gonna be here. Right? I will do the thumbnail. I will set everything up. You just tell me which one you want and who's gonna be on it. But we hear about the fighting fish, and then he shows them the sword and how it's impervious to anything but water.
But water, yeah. The pen is impervious to everything but water. You can't break it, bend it, whatever.
And he's trying his hard. The samurai pen that he's trying to break. That he's physically trying to break. And when it goes shooting, it is so awesome. Because once again, that's something we've all done with something stupid. Oh, like an action figure, right?
Yeah.
And you're like,
where'd it go? Oh, come on, Allison. Billy Jack's the one of the first movies that deals with PTSD and people returning from Vietnam.
Okay, so I've never seen Billy Jack, but I don't know why. You're going to hate me for this. When I hear the movie Billy Jack, I assume it is the movie from Tropic Thunder where the main character, what's his name? What's the actor? The main character.
Tom Laughlin?
No, what was the main character in Tropic Thunder?
Oh, Ben Stiller.
Ben Stiller plays the mentally handicapped. Wasn't it like Billy Jack or something?
It was Simple Jack.
Okay. When I hear Billy Jack, I'm like, that's what I go do. Because when you say Billy, I'm like, no, that's a parody.
Allison, I thought you liked hippies and Native Americans and the evil, corrupt white people government stories.
Is Allison like that?
I don't know.
Allison, you really like that?
I don't know.
We're just throwing out things. We're just gonna offend everyone. But anyway, so we see the pen go flying as he's. This is when he finds out, Nordberg is still alive. And of course, he has to go searching for the pen.
And he's trying to hide it. He's trying to get the pen. He's trying to do this, that, the other, and he kills the fish. And
It clamps onto his face, and he hides it behind his back because now it's clamped to his hand. He's like, "Is everything all right?" And his nose is all red. Which, when we were younger, it was harder to see because of our crappy TVs. Like, you didn't realize how red they made his nose.
You didn't see this in the movie theater? Come on.
I don't believe I did.
I know I did.
And then he gets it, and I think this is part of a GIF, so it doesn't put it in GIF when you.
Oh yeah,
it.
yeah.
And when he flings it behind his head back,
Mhm.
you hear it go through the fish.
Yep.
And he just dumps it back in there. And that's when we see Priscilla Presley.
Yeah, and so she gets assigned to help him out, and he's like, "Okay," and he's like following her like a drunk puppy.
I'm just gonna say it. I would also do the same thing.
Yeah, right.
The thing that I remember,
the jokes on that ladder.
Yes. The thing that I remember about this is that my friend growing up, I think I told this last week, or when we were deciding this, that his mom just thought it was so wrong that Elvis's wife would do something like this and play this role. And I think it was the condom thing that really upset her.
Yeah.
And I didn't really know the whole story of Elvis at the time. And the fact that rings true, and because we were like, it's just a movie. Like, oh my God, people act. But I look back and I'm like, what the hell was she talking about? Like, I died on the shitter.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't think anyone watches this and says, oh my God, this embarrasses his legacy. The guy died on the shitter, right? Oh, yeah. Yeah. But this was another one that I fully didn't understand. You know, I was just getting into that. Oh, that's what that's called.
Oh, yeah, beaver.
But I learned this one really quickly. But the nice beaver. And then when she...
So what really, what taught me that phrase more than anything was Basic Instinct. Because everybody called it the beaver shot.
And then she hands him
a stuffed beaver.
Which is amazing. Like that's such a good line. And then to have a stuffed beaver that is gonna fill in. Oh, that's what he was looking at. And as 48-year-old me was going, oh, he was actually looking up at that beaver. No matter how you look at it.
Oh yeah,
he was looking at it like. And after you see all these movies, you kind of get the feeling she probably wasn't wearing anything.
Right. Yeah.
Now I don't get it, but then he asks her out and he says, "I know this little out of the way place." I just think some of the stuff is just so corny. You wonder how much of the stuff was ad-libbed.
Oh yeah.
He seems like, I know this little out of the way place. Like, what? So this was the early airbag stage, right? If there's any youngins watching right now,
this wasn't a normal thing back then.
Yes.
A lot of people wouldn't even know what this is.
And this car did not have airbags.
There's no way that car had airbags.
This day and age, we know airbags, they poof, they don't continue to blow up.
Yeah.
So he goes to see Nordberg at the hospital.
And he crashes his car again, but his car gets out of control.
Wait a minute. No, I'm sorry. This is not Nordberg. This is when he goes back to the police force.
Yeah, going back to the police station.
And the airbag keeps...
And then the car's out of control and everybody's freaking out. And he's like...
Because it gets pushed in the drive. or neutral, something.
Yeah, whatever. He puts it into some kind of gear, but everybody's freaking out, and he thinks somebody's trying to run him down.
He doesn't notice it's his own car.
No, he doesn't. And then he blows up his own car, and it keeps going.
No, he shoots his own car.
It blows up.
Well, yeah, and then he tells the police officer, someone must have seen something.
Oh yeah.
Take all
He's
his
like-
statements, and the cop's like, all right.
He's starting to take people's statements as he walks on by and goes in.
But I gotta say, as a young kid, I'm like, Dad, is that how airbags work? And he's like,
No.
this might be the most unsafe airbag ever.
Right. Hey, but you know what? Maybe it's a precursor to Demolition Man's the safety foam.
Oh, it's been a long time since I've seen that movie.
I love that movie.
I think I've only seen it like once too.
Oh, dude, that movie is so awesome, and it ages well, in my opinion. You sympathize with Dennis Leary's character. I'm just saying. And now we get Q for Police Squad.
Yeah, so the Swiss Army shoe.
Wait. We have the anti-graffiti wall first.
I thought that was the end.
No, that's right at the beginning. It's the first thing they
Okay.
did before they went into the back room.
All right, so I don't have that. So, but the anti-graffiti, because the one that I remember was the anti-carjacking.
Oh yeah.
Is that from the second or third one?
I think it's from the second one.
Okay.
I don't remember, but it's
So that was not in here.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I looked and saw, I'm like, okay, this is not the anti-carjacking.
But now that I'm thinking about it, the anti-graffiti wall, that's another thing from Demolition Man. I'm just saying.
Oh, man, I feel like I need to watch that. Which is like they're spray painting it, and then they just start shooting paint at them.
They start shooting paint at the guys.
Again, I don't know if that's really making it any better.
How is that making it better? Because there's going to be paint all over the ground now. Instead of on the walls, it's all over the ground.
Oh yeah, that's right. And so then they walk in here, and I love the fact that they walk through the door, and Frank walks around the wall. Those are the little things like that you don't catch.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not looking for this stuff.
Yeah, and it's hard to talk about it without the visualization too, because it's like, yeah, okay, we can tell you about all the sight gag jokes and all this other stuff, but it's all contextualized, and you know, it's the challenge to talk about it in a show like this, but it does have a lot of funny moments.
Yeah, they're funny to. I think they become more funny to talk to someone about.
Yep. Absolutely.
So the Swiss Army shoe is one of the dumbest things in the world. But when he pulls the knife out, what's the first thing you think of? Roadhouse.
Roadhouse, yeah. I was
Great
thinking,
shoe.
yeah, I was thinking a ninja movie, but yeah, you're right. Roadhouse has it too.
But it has the corkscrew on it. It has all the different things. But then he shows the cufflink dart.
The cufflink darts. Hey, let's test it on your boss first.
And he goes, "Why?"
Why?
And then maybe because it was Perceptor, because I was like Perceptor because I had Perceptor. This joke always made me laugh when he's looking at the sample. He's like, "I don't see anything." And he's like,
Use your other eye.
Use your open eye. But then you hear the glass crack because he zooms in too much. But this is so perfect because once again, the straight face.
Yep.
I couldn't. There's no way that I could have done this. It would take me so many takes when they go your open eye and you look, and he keeps his eye closed for like the longest time.
Yeah, and then he's they find the heroin on Nordberg's clothes, and so they're thinking maybe he was involved with this. Mr. B, I was wondering if you're going to bring that up.
Now, this was one as a kid, I did not get.
Nope. There's no way that a kid should get this joke.
No, but there was. I remember so there were other kids maybe a little bit older than me that got it. Now I don't think they really understood what a pap smear was.
Right.
They probably had heard the name from their mom
Something.
or whatever. Yeah. But yes, so this is like I cannot hear it now and not just laugh.
Right.
It is. It's on par with Colonel Sanders. Which we got the Colonel Sanders one.
Yeah.
So Mr. Pashmir show him it. And this is when he's finding the samurai pen that's impervious to anything but water put through one of his $20,000 fish.
Well, and then, the pen, when he gave it back to him, it was leaking water all over the place. He's like, or he was leaking water when he
when he went to shake his hand. Yeah, down south 77. No one delivered deadpan like Leslie Nielsen. No one.
No one. Yep. And then they talk about 20 million, and then they what is this? Driving school. Oh, the driving school.
Yeah, so he says he is perfect assassin. He's not sure if he can do it. I don't know why he seems so determined to kill the queen. Now, mind you, we all thought the queen was old back then.
Right?
When did she die again?
A couple years ago.
That's someone who kicked her coverage. So he calls in his secretary, and he presses a button. And now, how the button knows only to tell her to do it, we don't care.
Well, there's several different buttons, so there's several different frequencies to trigger different operatives.
But how? But how do they plant it? That's especially the final one.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
And he starts freaking out. She just starts pulling the trigger. There's no bullets in it. And then he drops the gun. And she's like, "Oh, there's a gun on the floor. Should I pick it up?" Oh, no,
just leave it there. It's fine. Don't worry. It's okay. Just leave it there.
And then he says, "How are you going to get her closer?" He's like, "Not going to be her. Good secretaries are so hard to find."
Right.
Like, that's so insulting. Like, no, not her. Like, are you kidding? I'm going to get one of the greatest baseball players in the world to do it. So
there's a car chase in there, wasn't there?
No, the car chase is after this because they chase him.
Okay, that's right.
But there was some stuff I had so when he pulls up, because they were talking about it, they couldn't really figure it out. Someone hits the button to activate the doctor.
Oh, yeah.
And Nordberg goes up there. He's asked where the cop is, and he says, "Oh, he was just called in, said he could leave." And the nurse says, "By Frank Drebin." And that triggers him that, "Oh, that's me."
Yeah. It's like, I didn't clear that.
So he walks in to see the doctor trying to suffocate him. Now, is there one person that didn't do this with their kids or everyone at some point acted like they had a pillow thrown at them and they couldn't get off of it.
Right. Yep.
And the fact that there's just people walking behind them, like,
yep,
nothing's going on. And then, unfortunately, I couldn't get any pictures, but he's trying to get over Nordberg. It's flipping up.
The crunching in the bed.
Yes.
I mean, Nordberg just is the crap beat out of him the entire movie.
Yes, and then he climbs over him because he couldn't go around him. And I would say poor OJ had his Leslie Nielsen's ass in his
Oh,
face, but there's nothing that could happen to that guy that I would ever say poor guy.
yeah, there was definitely some awkward positioning.
Yes, but that,
And
that
then the doc steals the car and takes off, and Frank tries to get into a car, but it's a driving school car.
and I could figure out why he would not just confiscate the car, but he
Right.
decides to get in.
And
And
have them drive. That doesn't make any sense to me either.
now I always thought that this was Alfred Hitchcock.
That's funny. Yeah,
Even the
no.
way he talks is kind of like Alfred Hitchcock at the beginning.
Yeah, kind of. Down South 77. Same movement Sergeant Slaughter made in the G.I. Joe movie with a Nemesis Enforcer threw on his face.
You're trying to say that Sergeant Slaughter is Leslie Nielsen.
No, he was just struggling like an idiot to get the pillow off his face that was just a pillow.
So they get in, and he's like, "Follow that car." The instructor is so awesome. Like,
Well, he plays a deadpan too, doesn't he?
oh yeah, he
He's
never cracks. He never.
no.
He's like put it in drive, and then
Yeah. Well, my favorite is when he says, "Roll down your window, stick your arm out, extend the middle finger."
he's chasing. But he's shooting this little pea shooter, and she rolls the window up. I'm like, even when I was younger, I'm dying. I'm like, why is she rolling up the window? Until finally it gets shot out. When he goes down the wrong way, the instructor's like, normally you wouldn't be doing 65 on going the wrong way.
Wrong way. And then he's like very calmly explaining, put it in reverse, slam on the gas.
And unfortunately, I didn't get a picture, but she gives the guy the middle finger.
Yep.
And when the guy looks back, he's like, which I think we've all had that moment where we've probably flipped someone off, and all of a sudden they notice, or we notice someone flipping us off, and we're like, what the hell did I do? You
Right.
know, other than he call her a dumb broad, I think.
Something like that, yeah.
But she was going 65 down the wrong way.
Wrong way.
One way.
I just love how the driving instructor just so calmly said, roll down your window, extend your arm, extend your middle finger.
Down South says his delivery isn't as good.
Whatever. I liked it. I thought it was good.
Woody, sometimes we try and make sense of the senseless.
Oh, yeah.
Because technically we are the senseless. So you are absolutely correct. We are. Oh no, the Sarge. Okay, he says the Sarge.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah. Wasn't as good. I agree.
So they chase this guy, and unfortunately, you would have thought that I would have been able to get a picture of the oil tanker that he runs into.
Oh, well, so yeah, I mean, he blows up 3 times.
So he hits the oil tanker and blows up. Now he's on the front of the car. The roof is off, and he's steering. Again, makes no sense.
No.
And then there's a missile.
Then there's a missile from a military truck straight out of Superman 2. Then he's riding it like he's got a cowboy hat going woohoo with the atom bomb down there like Slim Pickens, and then he rides the missile right into a Chinese fireworks factory.
Yes, and we all know this one because we've probably all done it when something's going on and we're all like, nothing to see here.
There's nothing to see here. Hey, at least it's a better fireworks factory than what was in Echo. Oh, sorry to bring that bad story up.
This is probably what the explosion looked like down the street on Monday.
Maybe.
There is,
Ugh.
and by the way, if you guys are listening, there is nothing left of that place.
Wow.
And there was a shooting, because why wouldn't there be a shooting when this was happening? Some guy got shot and killed at the car wash while this was happening.
Wow.
Yeah, like Andrew came in and told me, and it was before anyone knew anything.
Yeah.
And, his mom was like, "Yeah, then some 19-year-old got shot and killed while it's happening." Like, what the
Wow.
fuck, dude? Like,
well, I just saw a video of some woman walking in the street randomly stabbing a child in the face 3 times.
ugh. Actually, I haven't driven by it down south. I have not had to go that way. I know the next day before I left for work, they said the road was still closed. It's not like right on the road. But yeah, all the nitrogen tanks and everything started blowing up. That's what all the rumbling was.
Yeah. Wow.
Crazy. That's crazy,
nuts.
man, because just, again, if you guys weren't watching, right before I went live, I thought it was a storm, and I never heard a storm like that.
Yeah.
But it was calm outside. And Andrew heard it too. He's like, "No, it's a storm." And that's when he came in, because he's like, "It's a train that a train that blew up." Well, trains don't really blow up. I thought maybe derailed. But that went on for way too long. But then when you start hearing,
wow.
Well, my ex said her whole house was shaking, and she's about a mile and a half away from it. So I could just hear the rumbling.
Wow.
That was a week after everyone heard the train.
Maybe you need to move. I don't know.
Okay, so after all this is when he goes for a walk. He's going through everything. And you can see all the stuff, and he's just thinking, and then he finally ends up somewhere, and he's like, "And where the hell was I at?"
Right.
And then he goes home to. I didn't get the gymnastics.
Oh.
Unfortunately. Again, a lot of this plays better when you're watching it. But he sees the doors open.
Yep.
Because, what's his face? The bad guy.
Ricardo Montalban?
Yes. But what's his name in this? Why can't I think of it?
Zimmerman. I don't know.
I hate that. But
I can't remember.
He basically tells
name.
Priscilla,
so stupid.
"Go sleep with him."
Oh, yeah.
So he does all the gymnastics around his house because he knows someone is in there.
Ludwig. Vincent Ludwig. Yeah.
Yes, Ludwig. And then he walks into her wearing one of his shirts.
And that's it.
With messy hair, boiling a roast. Which,
Well, I mean, yeah. Remember later on, we go through all the stuff in the refrigerator and what he's got in the refrigerator. So he doesn't have anything. It's not 4 years old.
But when I see the boiling the roast, I think of Better Off Dead.
It should be all green, right? For some random reason.
Only difference. But she says she slipped in this because she couldn't get anything on it. And then he says, "Do you mind if I slip into something more comfortable?" And he comes out
in a tuxedo or suit.
Yeah, like a giant freaking pot roast that she's boiling. Anyway. Hey, listen, what do you like? Listen, wicked sense of humor. Listen, if you saw what I posted on my Facebook, when people die, you might think differently of me. I'm pretty sure there was one of this guy too when he died.
Yeah.
So they finally sit down to eat, and they're completely redressed,
Redressed in formal wear.
formal wear, sitting down on the floor with like bean bags or something. Her hair is completely done.
Yep. Suddenly went from that to completely made up.
Yes, and then it moves to
Ripping the clothes off, just
sex.
and the
And
clothes come off. Got to have safe sex.
I practice safe sex,
Yep.
and so her dress comes off, which is how women's dresses come off. But even when and this was a gift, but unfortunately, when he grabs the suit
And just
and just splits into two, that was something I don't think anyone could have seen coming.
no.
It
I mean,
was,
it's straight out of a cartoon. It literally out of a cartoon.
yes. Again, straight pan face.
Yep.
Like he doesn't break. How
Yep.
could she not be watching that and not be like? Not to mention, he's clearly got to be looking at her tits too. So
Right.
there's that, which would break me.
Now, for some reason, I've got sexy dinner, motocross, and then safe sex. I forgot about the motocross scene.
motocross.
It was something like from Rad. It looked like it was from Rad. Anyway.
Well, they go on a date after this.
Yeah.
So there's this.
Now, okay. So, talk about awkward experiences. I know I saw this movie in the movie theater. My mom took me.
Yes. This is one of those ones that no matter how you look at it, if you were with your parents, I hope you felt awkward.
Yep, very awkward.
Because if you didn't, then you and your parents probably have too close of a relationship, and there needs to be some boundaries set. Although there's really nothing going on other than there's two giant condoms that are like. But then we get into I'm into something good.
I saw this at the drive-in with my mom, and I asked her, "What are those?"
Yes, that's. But I'll tell you what. If a parent had to explain it to the kid, all they'd have to do is say, "Oh, well, they put these big suits on, so like you could get away if your kid really didn't know what it was until they get older and
yeah."
Woody remembers this. Although I'm sure mom was like, "Oh my god, this is awful."
And now we go to the date scene with every date trope thing that you could ever come up with, all in one montage, and it was all over one day.
Yes. They have different hair. They get they get tattoos together.
Tattoos.
When he accidentally squirts ketchup on her, so then she squirts mustard on him, and the hot dog guy is laughing, so they just turn on him and start like squirting him down.
They come out of watching a movie, Platoon, laughing their butts off.
Like everyone else is horrified. Like you see the people behind them before they pan to them, and they're all like horrified because they just watched. Platoon was a very serious war movie, and then as it's panning up to them, they're laughing hysterically at it, like we did at the Naked Gun. That might be like one of the few times he laughs in the movie.
Right, exactly.
And then we finally get to the couple they clothesline.
Clothesline. This is our scene, not your scene.
And I'm still trying to figure out the magic that is keeping that shirt up. Not a fan of it. um, but yeah. And then at the end,
Oh, Woody, that's
oh,
oh man. Wow.
wow, that's sorry, Woody.
I'm sorry, man.
Your mom feels she should have drank you. Um, but this is awesome because
I love this part, the VH1 MTV
yeah,
credit
because
for the song.
if a kid watched it right now, they wouldn't understand this.
No, they would
Um,
not.
this song was so perfect
Yep.
for this montage.
Yep.
And then when you see the end, as he drops her off, and says, "I can't believe we just met yesterday."
Right. Well, and it's so perfect because, you know, Herman and the Hermits, I'm Into Something Good, the Naked Gun soundtrack, Wheelio Records Inc. So they're trying to promote the
Yeah.
soundtrack for them.
But yeah. Oh, and Friday night video overlay. Hey Muda, how you doing? But yeah, this is I guess I love this. This was so it was so good because I don't think it's one of those things you really catch as a kid.
Yeah.
That this was really one day.
Yep.
This is one of those things your parents probably laughed at, and you're like, "What's so funny?" And they're like, "Yeah, you'll get it when you're older."
Right. It's just a movie.
So then they go to the stakeout, and as they're eating these nuts,
No, these are okay. So these are pistachios.
wow, that's a
And
nut,
so
right?
they've got regular pistachios, and then for whatever reason they've got the dyed green ones and the dyed red ones. And you know, my dad always ate the regular ones, but occasionally he'd get these red ones. Man, they just get on everything.
Their faces, they keep their face in their hands. You can see it.
Yep. And I happen to be allergic to pistachios, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Let me tell you a quick story. So, people are very allergic to nuts, right?
Yeah.
So, there's nut allergies. So, I'm sitting at a school one day for work, and I'm letting the copier warm up or something, and I'm looking at this chart that they have, right? And they have pictures of kids, and it says peanut allergy, and it's all the kids that were in the school. And as I'm looking at it, I'm trying to figure it out, and then it finally dawned on me. Oh, these are the kids that are no longer in this. Like, these are all the kids. These are the kids that are no longer in the school. And I go, and when she came in, I go, I've been looking at this picture trying to figure it out. And it says peanut allergy, absolutely no peanuts in these rooms. You have like 5 kids crossed off. It makes it look like they're dead.
Dead.
And she went, oh my God. She's like, no. The ones that are no longer in the school. I'm like, oh no, I get that. It looks like they're dead.
Yeah. Because they died.
They were crossed off. And I'm like, and she started dying laughing. And I'm like, I was horrified. Like, they're just fucking crossing off kids that die. There goes little Johnny.
Woody, they dye pistachios for the same reason that they dye all of the meat that they put in the stores, because if they didn't, it wouldn't look as appetizing. So all of your meat that looks red when you buy it at the store should be brown because of oxidization, but they put that red dye in there to make you think, oh, this is fresh, and buy it. And they do the same thing for pistachios, because you dye them red, they look more appealing. It's more aggressive. You want to eat these, and so you'll eat more of them. And it is a tactic that restaurants use in their tablecloths when they put red tablecloths down. The cheaper restaurants will do that, so they'll put red and white tablecloths down to make you more aggressive and want to eat more and order more food. It's a psychological thing.
Do they use red dye number 2?
No, they use number 5 because red dye number 5 causes cancer. So
Which one is from Kindergarten Cop? Isn't it red dye number 2?
I thought it was 5, but
It
it might
might
be
be.
2.
I just
Yeah.
I love that movie. Anyway, I just thought this was funny because he can't open the door. Like, how long have you been out there, and how many damn pistachios did you have?
Right. I mean, clearly they had a lot because I mean they were just covered and buried in them.
um, this part, I didn't understand it, and as an adult, I fully understand it because you go to buy a figure and you're like, what credit card do I want to use? But when he changes the credit cards, it brought back such a flashback because credit cards were like, it was the big MasterCard symbol, the big Visa symbol, the
Yeah.
American Express. Like there was no, thought put into them. And he's changing them, and you can see all the different ones, the same ones that we would see, in the commercials and stuff. And that was
yeah, and today they're just those little symbols in the bottom corner,
yeah.
whereas back then they were the entire freaking card looked like that.
But the fact that one credit card wouldn't work, so he had to switch credit
cards. This one's not good enough. Oh, this one will work. And which one was it? It was the Amex.
It was the Amex. So, unfortunately, I don't have all the stuff that happens here before the fire starts.
Yeah, no, but I mean,
after the fire starts, don't worry, I got lots of it.
Man, it's just he's going through there wreaking havoc at every step of the way. I mean, he's trying to be as sneaky as possible. And then he finally sets off the final alarm, the piano thing, right? The player piano.
Well, when he starts trying to save the vases, which was foreshadowed earlier,
yes,
about his collection.
Yep.
And then when he sees the fire starting, that he started because he was trying to read the letter with the flame. Although there's more than enough light in there.
Right. Plenty of light.
And he just grabs it and they all just go crashing down. The painting goes smashing through this. You're right. Once the piano starts playing, but then he sees on the camera that he's coming back in. I mean, where was the guy at? He was gone for like 15 minutes.
I know. It's like he's like ran around the block to grab some Doritos or something. Oh, maybe some red pistachios.
Then he found out they were all out.
They were all out. Oh, damn it.
2 guys just came in and bought them all.
And don't call me Shirley. And then, yes, the gargoyle penises and boobs.
He sneaks out here. And the one thing that, I mean, I remembered, but I had kind of forgotten, was that he is grabbing the boobs of the statues as he's going around it.
Well, yeah, and then when he falls off, he has to grab the penis of the one, and he flips it upside down.
That's next.
Okay.
Don't worry. I have pictures. Now, why she's in this high rise, hanging outside her window, brushing her hair, is putting sense into a senseless movie. But he does grab one boob. Then he moves on to the next one to make sure. But then he falls, and as he's pulling himself up, and she looks out the window. She looks out the window, and here he is, and yes, we know what it looks like. But then when he finally gets up, he turns it up.
It turns up. Well, yeah, because
right. Because that's how statues are.
They just have rotating parts all over.
And then they pan up to the
smile.
Statue's face. And then when he breaks into her home with
it in his hand.
and then he hides it behind his back really quickly. Now I will say this. When I first watched it, I did not realize they made him as sweaty as he was. So I saw this picture and went, I didn't realize he was that sweaty.
And what I love even more is that later, when they talk about what the police call was.
Oh no, that's in there next.
Okay.
OJ's in all 3 of these.
Yes.
And we discussed it, Muda. I hate the fact that I enjoy his parts because he was so not this part. I don't know about his parts. Great articulation. So this is where
destroying property, arson, sexual assault with a concrete dildo.
But how she says it. Sexual assault with a concrete dildo? And I will admit, at that time, I did not know what that was.
Right. Yeah.
As a kid, I didn't know what that was. And I don't remember really asking my parents. Like, I don't remember saying, hey, what is this? I think there were just certain things that I was able to put 2 and 2 together that I should probably not ask.
Yeah.
Clinton Jurgensen. Okay, so I turned this on with my wife to see Leslie holding John. Sorry. Hey, I only put on what the movie does, right? So he hasn't gotten fired yet, right?
Yeah.
Because that comes at.
Well, I mean, this is, yeah.
So he shows up at home. She's there, or maybe she shows up to tell him what that Ludwig wants to see him.
Yep.
Yeah, Ludwig wants to see him. She starts going through his refrigerator. We had already seen him like pull out the milk and
rotted milk and mayo, and then Jane shows up. Ludwig wants to see you, and everything is freaking disgusting and rotted. And
when she pulls out the Chinese place, and she says, and she's like,
"I thought that place closed 4 years ago."
Yeah. When did they reopen? He's like, "You can't be that old." And then he takes a whiff of it and passes out. Everything in the freezer is completely frozen over, which is, it kind of reminds me of the stapler in the Jell-O.
Oh yeah. Sorry, Clint. It's part of the movie.
You just blame it on me.
It's all Punk's fault.
It's all my fault. All my fault. I'm okay with it.
Actually, it's all y'all's fault because you chose this movie.
That is true. I actually can't vote. I actually can't vote because it's my own poll. I cannot believe I just said it's my own poll.
Phrasing. Are we still doing that? Have you ever seen the show Archer?
Not much, but my buddy tells me I need to watch it.
It is so funny, but that's a big thing in Archer. Phrasing. Are we still doing that?
But yeah, I think everything that's in his, like, she's going through it, and she's very good with pen face too. Like, she doesn't have, like, it's just like, oh, this is just common.
Yep.
Now, I couldn't find any pictures, and I wasn't going to turn the movie back on and find it again. So he goes to where she said that Ludwig wants to see him.
Mm-hmm.
The guy starts shooting at him.
Right.
And he's like, I can't hear you.
I can't hear you over the gunfire. Would you stop?
So this was something I brought up to Matthew. in the short amount of time that I talked to him after I woke up late. This movie came out in 88. Batman came out in 89. But this was clearly a scene from Batman. So I wonder how they saw it, because was there any other reference to Batman in any of the comics or anything? Does anyone know where they would have pulled this from?
I am not entirely sure, but I believe that trope had been seen somewhere before. I think it was a trope. So it had been done before, maybe just in comics. I don't know.
Did we get to the stuffed beaver part? My dad laughed so hard at that line. Yeah, that's pretty early on in the movie, but I love the fact that you said that your dad laughed so hard at that. Yeah, so he goes there, he gets shot at. Wow, you're only a year old, so 87. Jeez, oh man, it's still kind of old, but man, I feel old.
Right.
As I'm approaching 50, 2 more
right.
years.
It's just around the corner.
I know, like I don't feel 50. I'm not 50 yet. But I will tell you this. Listen, if anyone ever asks, everyone hates when they're almost 50 or almost 40. Just remember this. When you're 50, and then you're 51, you're 52, and you're 53, and you're 54, as long as you're at 54, you can still tell people you're almost 50. So if you are 44, you can just tell people you're almost 40. That's good rule of thumb for women out there that don't want to admit that they're older than 40 or 30 or whatever. But once you hit the 5, then you have to round up, so you're fucked. But yeah, he gets shot at. He ends up shooting the guy. He falls in the vat. And I always think of the Batman scene, but this was out before Batman 89.
Yep.
So it must have come from somewhere else. But it is just like Batman. Like,
well, the way Hollywood works, these little tidbits get passed around in so many different scripts. I'm sure that it was, if it was, who did this? Did Warner Brothers do this movie? If so, then it was probably an in-house script that somebody had seen and said, "Oh, I'm going to use that." And little ideas like that get stolen all the time.
Yeah, but that's such a big part of Batman. You know, like it was just weird. So
yeah.
So he shows up. He's not supposed to be there. He shows up there and says, "There's gonna be assassination on the Queen. Ludwig's gonna do it." He confronts Jane, pretty much accuses her of, only sleeping with him because of Ludwig.
Because and setting him up. I mean, for the whole assassination attempt.
But when even as a kid, and as an adult, when I watched it the other day, when he started searching him, and then he's like, "What, do you think we were just born yesterday?" And he's got his hands in his boss's pocket. And he's like, "Oh, what is this?" He pulls out his gun.
Pulls out his friend's gun. Not the guy they're trying to arrest. There's wrong pockets there.
And he pulls out the wallet.
Why does he have a picture of your wife and kids?
And then he knocks the guy out. And then Drebin still wants to pursue it, and he's like, "Oh, no, let's just forget it," because he realizes that it's his wallet. And the guy just gets left there. Like, nope, we're done. Like, nope. And I think this is when he approaches her, and he starts trying to figure things out. What is it that makes him? Oh, he gets the horn blown in him.
Yeah.
In his ear. So then he sees this, which I forgot that he had pointed a.
Well, yes, it's the big award ceremony, and Ludwig is presenting him with the antique gun, or presenting the queen with an antique gun, and he's kind of showing it off. He's like, freaks out.
Yeah, and he's aiming it as well as I've watched some people pose their action figures. And then this happens. And I still think this is one of the this has to be one of the most shown scenes of any movie,
Probably.
because this has been shown so many times. Um, and you're right. I think the other lady made a better queen, or would have made a better queen. Because now I'm looking at her like,
Doesn't
this
look
one
like
really looks nothing like the queen.
and maybe they cast the first actress, and then the royal family came in and said, can we not do that? And they're like, okay.
So then he's getting fired. He gets fired. He's at the police force. He's packing his bag. He's packing everything up. And this line of just think the next time I shoot someone, I could be arrested. He finds evidence and goes, "Oh, wow, he was innocent. He went to the lecture 3 years ago." He just
toss it
back in.
Meh.
And then Jane shows up. There's Jane, right?
Yep.
And they get an argument.
And here's where we learn about Ludwig's real proclivities.
What about Ludwig? He likes East German men. And what about you? Well, first off, he went off on that whole. Does he go off on a tirade now, or about how cops and women don't mix?
Yeah, I think so. I think that's where it is.
I like cops. And then all the cops around him start
They're like, huh?
Even his boss, who we just found has a wife and kids. But I guess the wife and kids are shacking up with someone else. So
right, yeah.
This is when he goes in the tirade, I think, about how cops and women don't mix.
Yep.
And he uses some really awful analogies. And then we get to the baseball game.
A baseball game.
And all the announcers, which they don't have this many announcers, just so you know. Like, they may have this many announcers for, like,
well, but
TV,
remember,
radio.
Each one of, so it depends on what network you're on, what radio station you're listening to. Each one of them has their own announcers, right? For each one of those different markets. And so they got them all and put them all there because they're all real announcers.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Including
yes. Joyce.
Which I didn't understand at the time. I didn't understand any of them at the time. But I see like Dick Vitale, like he does basketball, right?
You're right.
But yeah, when they're going through them all, I think it's absolutely hilarious.
I think I had some recollection of who she was for some reason at the time when I saw this movie, because I'm like, oh, she's the sex doctor.
I had some recollection of who she was, that I've seen her, but not of what she was. Nor was I a fan of sports at the time, so I wouldn't have recognized, and I would have found this part that funny. I found it funny because they were going through announcer after announcer after announcer, and I'm like, that's a lot of announcers. But I guess it is the queen.
Yep.
I guess today, like in this day and age, it wouldn't be that big of a deal because we get around so much, from place to place.
Whore.
Here she is. They get the special seating, and she throws out the first pitch, which is so
no. So they're coming down the walkway, and she gets special seating, but there's two moochers sitting in the chair, eating their popcorn or hot dogs or whatever, and they have to be brushed off, kicked out of the room, like, oh yeah, whatever, because they were clearly poaching seats, and so they could get the queen to sit down. Come on, what kind of security does this place have?
Police squad security.
Yeah, apparently.
Remember, this is the guy that was just there with all like the worst leaders of all the worst countries, and he could have just got rid of them all, but he just told them not to come to America.
Yep. Yep.
He went there just to warn them and find
went
out
there to shame them and to say, I know who you are. Now you know who I am. Who's that guy?
So she throws out the first pitch and it does that like windy thing.
Whoop, boom. It finds the glove. And even the guy who caught it was like, how the hell did that happen?
This part still grosses me out.
Yeah, so I don't know if you remember, but even a couple of years ago, they found a thumb in a Wendy's thing at Chili. Yep. This happens semi-frequently with food products.
You can only imagine how many times blood is in your. Holy crap! I'm sorry. I just have to look at my other screen. Mad Hatter's Kickstarter is at 107,000.
What's his Kickstarter for?
For his flipper guy to go with the Motu figures. He had 107,000 in a week.
Ah, shit. Anyway.
I just happen to look over it, and it automatically updates, and I just happen to look over and see it.
Toy tubers getting in and making toys is probably not the best idea. I'm just saying. I agree with Bobby Vela on this.
But again, it's the story of how this happened, which is funny.
Yeah,
I don't think it's going to be a big thing. And again, who knows how long it will take? I believe Ramen's making it. But this thing has a ring on it.
Well, he finds the ring first. And then after he finds the ring, he looks and sees the finger.
And it's very pale. And
yeah. It's been there a while.
It gives me an uneasy feeling.
Yeah, that's gross. He spits out the rest of the hot dog.
Oh, that's what they show all the bloopers at the beginning. All the baseball bloopers.
Oh, yeah.
Where like the tiger comes out.
Yep.
You see the car come out and hit the guy.
Yep.
And then the last one is the guy jumping up to catch the ball.
And his head comes off.
And then it pans to the announcer that's laughing.
So, that didn't exactly happen that way, obviously, but it is a parody of something that actually did happen. And it was, something where it, jerked the guy over really hard on the back wall and stuff like that. So it was based off of a real event.
Yeah, well, but his head, and the announcer's laughing about it, and the other one's like horrified by it.
Right.
Oh, wait a minute. I got this out of.
No. We're right. Yeah, this is where we're at.
So we get to. He's got to find a way to get down there.
Well, and then he sees the opera singer talking with this woman, and he's like, I don't wait for him. He waits for me, because he's waiting for the usher to bring him out, because he's like, what's going on? I'm supposed to be going out. And Frank's hiding himself. And then once the lady walks off, he knocks on the door and pretends to be the usher and pow, knocks him out. And apparently hog ties him and steals his clothes. And then the usher brings him out. The usher shows up and brings him out, and everybody's assuming this is the great opera singer, and he comes out to sing the national anthem and doesn't know the words.
Some of them.
Some of them.
To say he doesn't know any of the words, that's just a flat out lie.
I didn't say he didn't know any of the words, but
he did. I believe that it is a total disgrace with what like Roseanne Barr did, right? And I know people will say the same thing for this, but this was a parody movie, so I don't have a problem. When someone comes out and can't sing the national anthem and they're trying to do it properly, or that's what they're supposed to, I have a problem with that, right? But when in a parody movie, I had no problem with it. But the fact that the police know that that he's not the guy.
Well, I mean, the people there don't. The people that know him, that know Frank, do, and that's who they have to say, "Hey, that's not the guy," because nobody knew before then.
And he's like looking as the police are coming out, but I like when the guy's hog-tied and
he's
he sees him out there. Enrico Palazzo. And he's like what, like some big opera singer?
Yep.
He must be a real
world famous opera singer. Very well known for his voice, and then the whole world, the U.S. television watchers and people at the stadium believe that that's who Enrico Palazzo is.
But you go back to 1988, there's a lot of people we didn't know what they really look like.
Yeah.
So if you saw them on TV,
but also like the people that would follow Enrico Palazzo would know what he looks like, but the general American public would have no fucking clue.
At a baseball game?
Yeah, at a baseball game?
Looking down at
an opera singer? Whatever. This comes up later.
So he gets away.
And after he's done singing, he cuts and runs, and then he finds the umpires, and he takes out an umpire, and as
head ump.
And then as he's changing clothes, the janitor walks in and sees the umpire naked in his underwear, and Frank's taking his clothes off, and he goes, "Oh, sorry guys."
So that's where I was confused, because I remembered that part, but I thought this would happen. I forgot that he ended up here, and I was like, "Where is the part where he has Enrico bent over?" And then when it hits it, I went, "Oh,
it wasn't Enrico.
Yeah,
it was the umpire."
So he comes out with his mask on and everything, and
then he says, it takes him a minute. Everybody's looking at him, and then he's like, "Strike," and everybody cheers, and he starts getting into it and getting all jazzed about calling the shots.
And as he's
doing his Michael Jackson dances.
Don't worry. I might just have that picture.
we're almost there. Almost.
But the way he's like, when he's trying to frisk everyone.
Yep.
And they're like, "What are you doing?" Like, but he really gets into his whole like the strikes and the balls, and he's dancing around.
And literally, he does the Michael Jackson dance and dropping down and standing up. And I mean, clearly, it's not Leslie Nielsen.
But... No. I sure don't think so.
No way.
But I mean, the guy hits a strike, and he's jumping, or hits a home run, and he's jumping up with him, like grabbing him. No,
hey, you're frisking the guy.
Now, when they get to the pitcher. I would not have understood any of this.
Oh, but this was hilarious. This was hilarious to me.
I don't remember.
As soon as he pulled out the sandpaper, I knew exactly where they were going with it. Even as a kid, I'm like, "Oh, fucking cheaters."
See, I did it, but watching it this time, I laughed. And as he goes over there and he's going through, but this picture here, when it's like he knows he's caught.
Oh man, he's got the Vaseline in my hat.
He's got a whole Vaseline. If anyone doesn't know, when they do like the pine tar, they put it on the brim of they put it on their hats, or they put it on their gloves, right? Mm-hmm. They don't carry a jar of Vaseline out there because his hat's like this.
Yep.
But he pulls out the sandpaper. He pulls out the grinder.
So I don't know how the grinder works exactly, but I assume it's similar to sandpaper. But I know sandpaper and Vaseline are very sneaky ways to throw a ball and screw up the batter.
Yeah, I don't really know what you could do with that grinder because technically there's ball. I mean, the umps have
Yeah.
the balls.
Right.
But
Yeah.
I think they would catch that. Someone would, right? But the
Right.
look on this guy's face when
It's like, oh crap, I'm busted. He found the Vaseline. He's got it all.
and he never does anything.
He puts it back. He puts it back on his head.
He puts it back on his head. There's your dustbuster.
So he does it correctly the first time.
Yeah.
Second time it's a dustbuster. The third time's a vacuum cleaner.
I always thought them cleaning home plate was always stupid because they're just gonna get dust on. They're just gonna get dirt on it again. But I do understand why they do it. But like you know where it's at. But he gets a dustbuster out.
Well, so yeah, I mean, you have to make it clear and identifiable for the umpire to see exactly what happened on the next play.
Yeah. So they're coming up to the seventh inning, and he has to extend it.
Was it though? I mean, I thought it was like the cheap person's thing. Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, they were pretty cheap.
It might have been a luxury because it came out in the 80s, so that was the new luxury thing that I think everyone had to have. And I think we had that exact one. Matter of fact, it's probably the only one they ever made. Because Dustbuster is like Kleenex, right?
Yeah.
Dustbuster is a name of a specific one.
Yep.
So it's like a Xerox. Oh, I Xerox. My Xerox.
Xerox. My Xerox broke. Where's my toner?
God, I hate that. Yeah, I was Xeroxing. You were making copies? Yeah, same thing. No, it's not.
No, it's not. Hey, but you know what? That's the insidiousness of a brand name and how prevalent it became and how well known that one brand was.
Yes, was.
We'll
just leave it at that. So he gets to the point where he makes it over to his boss. No one notices the umpire going over and talking to the police. And he says he has to prolong it. So he starts calling balls.
Well, he says he notices that he's been searching everybody. He figured out who he was and hadn't told anybody yet. So his boss is kind of cool about that. So he's like, I haven't found anything yet. And he's like, well, there's a timing thing. So they know that it has to be the third out in such and such an inning or whatever.
The seventh inning, for the seventh inning stretch.
Yeah, seventh inning, third out is the time that it will happen. And so that you're getting closer and closer to that time frame. So it's like, okay, well, we can't get that third out.
And so guy throws like a perfect strike.
Perfect.
And he calls a ball. And is getting angry. And then another one. He calls a ball again. It's like the perfect strike. Grooved right down the middle. Like, then the next one, he hits a pop-up. And he throws all the balls up in the air.
Throws all the balls up in the air.
and the catcher's like...
Well, and then, okay, so there's 5 balls. He gets 4 of them and comes over to the base to tag the guy out with 4 balls. And he says, safe. He's like, what the hell?
Like 2 feet away.
1 ball left.
and the catcher says, like, I have 3 balls in my hand or 4 balls in my hand. Then they get into the rundown. I love the pickle. They get into the pickle and they start commentating on it. He runs out there and then he gets involved in it. And then the other ref gets, and they're going back and forth.
So and then he ejects the other umpires. Says, you can't do that.
He calls them out. He's safe. Like, they're going back and forth. So he finally pulls the gun out.
Yep. Well, he ejects the other 2 umpires. He's like, you can't do that. And then then Reggie gets activated.
Yes.
So Reggie Jackson gets activated, and he starts walking his way. He finds the gun underneath third base, picks it up, and starts going. And that's when Frank realizes what's going on, because Jane cues him in. So Jane's over there with Ludwig, and she yells at Frank, and Frank takes notice and pulls his gun out. And they're like, "Whoa!"
So he runs over, he grabs Reggie. I don't have the picture. So there's there's the base.
Yep.
And once he grabs Reggie, you hear someone yell, "He grabbed Reggie," and then the baseball brawl starts.
Yep.
Which I think is hilarious.
Get the big dog pile going.
Yep. The one guy goes flying. He's totally a dummy. He goes flying.
Well, and then oh shoot, Jane says something to Ludwig, and they go back and forth a little bit about it. Oh shoot, but that was funny. There's the dog pile.
Yeah. This was also off a GIF, and when I do a GIF and it gets put in the StreamYard, it no longer becomes a GIF.
Yep.
So really, there's a guy that goes flying from the top here, which I love. Like, it looks so stupid and so fake that it makes it awesome. And the fact that Reggie, like, where the hell is the security?
Right. I mean, there had to be some other security, right? I mean, somebody.
Like, no one else could do anything. He had to climb up on this.
And nobody stopped him. The queen didn't get away. The people in the booth didn't grab the queen and take her to safety. Oh, come on. But whatever. She's just everybody's interested in watching the dog pile.
I believe that when I was reading about it, I think they said, because this was done in 88, Reggie Jackson only played there till 86.
Yeah.
So obviously it was filmed that you would figure in 87, right? So they did get him to come back. This guy fills out this uniform amazingly.
Right?
Big guy. Back then, they weren't known for their heads growing extra sizes after they got on the cream and the clear. So luckily he still has one of his cufflinks.
Yep.
Which he shoots at him. It deflects
and hits a woman way up top, and she tumbles over and lands on Reggie.
And it just happens to be a big woman.
Large woman.
Though I think from that height, which again, I don't know, like there was no, if you've been to baseball stadiums, there's no one right above you in that area.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't a Ned Flanders' wife situation here.
But then we have Ludwig, who has a box Uzi that he just has stored somewhere on his
right underneath the suit. It's just there. I mean, everybody in the 80s had an Uzi, right? Or a MAC-10 under their jacket, right?
He's not like a big guy.
No.
This is something that would have shown, all right? Someone the size of Arnold Schwarzenegger probably could have hit something like this.
Somebody who was doing security for the Queen of England at the time would have noticed.
You would hope. But they watched a baseball player with a gun walk right up and not do anything.
Right up and didn't do anything.
He takes her up.
He doesn't think about the Queen. He's just taking her off.
Yeah, he could have killed the Queen right there, right?
Could have.
He just got away. Like,
yep.
Obviously they weren't doing nothing. But I love when he's taking her up the stairs, and then you see the back shot, and it's like a total doll, and he's just shaking her back.
Well, they go back and forth, right? They go to him bringing her up the stairs, and they shoot back to something else, and they come back, and then he's just like throwing this doll up the stairs as he's going.
And I don't think of him as a comedy actor. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, because of his voice, the things that he's done, you think he should be a more serious actor.
He has done some funny stuff.
But yeah, he plays this so good.
Yep.
Which says you don't take yourself too serious.
Yeah, exactly.
Just again.
Oh yeah, but after Frank drops the girl on him and everything like that, he takes off the mask and or the umpire's mask and everybody's like Enrico, and they start chanting Enrico's name, and so they think that Enrico Paznici saved the queen.
Yeah, I found that sticker. Yeah, I found there was that sticker that popped up.
Yep.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that. But so they get up here.
So that's where we bring back the opera singer guy, and he actually gets his vindication because he saved the queen now. His name is associated with that.
Well, I didn't really think about that.
not the screwing up of the national anthem, but saving the Queen of England. That's what he's going to be known for in this event, right?
I didn't even think about that. Yeah. So he hits him with a dart.
Nails him. And then somebody comes up and says, "You killed him." And he's like, "No, he'll be fine in a little bit," until he falls off the edge.
Falls off.
And then gets run over by a bus.
I couldn't find the bus.
A steamroller and a marching band.
Okay, so this is okay. So he falls down, which clearly he's dead.
Yep.
Then he gets hit by the bus.
Yep.
And then the steamroller comes. You can hear the crunching of the bones. Like they made sure you could hear the crunching of the bones. And even when the marching band, for some reason, that's in the parking lot behind the steamroller.
He's so flat, nobody's noticing.
You can hear it crunching when they're stepping at him. But then every time they're walking, they're hitting the buzzer.
Well, one of them hits the buzzer anyway and sets off the signal for the second signal.
Now, I want you guys to think about this. Most of our car key fobs cannot start our car from this distance. But this can trigger an assassin from that distance in 88.
Yeah, it's a super radio frequency. Come on, man. I mean, everybody had those back then. I mean, today they do it for safety, right? You have to be within 100 yards of your vehicle, right?
And then she picks up the gun and she must kill Frank Drebin. And he talks her out of it by saying how much he loves her.
And everybody's watching. Somehow they got a camera up there and it's on the Jumbotron, and the entire world is watching Frank profess his love to this woman who's walking up to him with a gun trying to kill him.
It's probably the same cameraman for the WWF who is in the parking lot or just happened to be at the grocery store when someone gets attacked. Always in the back. Like, why are these cameras always going?
Yep.
Yeah, and then everyone starts hugging and kissing. And she puts the gun down. And then we see
Nordberg.
The commissioner or whoever is like, there's someone who came to see you. Well, first off, he wasn't supposed to be there. So how would he know to come here to see him? And he's still in his wheelchair, and he smacks him on the back, and there he goes, and goes flying in.
Down the stairs and flips off on down to the field somewhere.
That's how the movie ends.
That's it. We're all done,
that's
folks.
That's the end of the movie. It is. You can take comfort in liking something from OJ because he gets beat up every time. It still doesn't change what he allegedly did. But I just, I feel dirty saying I like the OJ parts because he's really good in the next movies too.
Like I said, the second one's my favorite, and a lot of it has to do with the comedy timing that he brought to that movie.
Unfortunately, he was a very talented man.
Yeah.
Maybe he should have been the one that went out and was on that mission for that Drebin was on at the beginning.
Right. Well, hey, look what happened with the heroin bust. I mean, that didn't go so well for him.
Well, that all started with a shoddy door. If the door would have got knocked over, it might have been a whole different story.
Blame it on the door.
Yes, he would have missed the bear claw, the wet paint, the windowsill. I like this movie. I really do.
I think you're right. This movie needs to be watched with other people. You can't watch it by yourself. It's just not the same.
Yeah.
It does have good comedy timing. It has good jokes in it, but some were a little dated, some were a little contextualized, whatever. But I mean, it's funny. Just talking about this movie is funny.
Oh yes. He does say that. He says it's the same way my dad went. I forgot.
There's a lot of off-color humor about death and family relationships that happen in this movie, just as passing comments, and they do it so straight-laced that if you're not paying attention, you'll miss it.
Yeah, I like that they referred to his boss as his boss the whole time.
Yeah,
because no one can remember his name. But you did send something to me about the remake of The Naked Gun.
Oh yeah,
and that Liam Neeson is going to be playing Frank Drebin.
Yep.
Now, in a weird way, I find that funny because I always wanted to do an A-Team movie after George Papard had died, and I was like, Leslie Nielsen would be the perfect replacement. They really they had a very similar look, right?
No, I agree. Yeah,
very similar look.
Yeah.
And then you tell me that Liam Neeson is playing him, Frank Drebin, in The Next Naked Gun, but he also played Hannibal Smith in the A-Team.
Yep. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what if that ever comes to fruition. It'll be interesting.
Woody, I want to agree with you. I do. I like Leslie Nielsen. I mean Liam Neeson. But I'm with you. Like, I hope that if they do a Naked Gun, maybe. Did they say if he's playing Frank Drebin?
They said he was starring in the Naked Gun movie. Okay. I don't know that he's playing Frank Drebin. I don't know if that's been announced, if he's officially playing that character or not.
It would.
If cool. if they continue it and move it on into the future, then I think it'll be better. But if you're playing Frank Drebin, you have to keep it in context of the 80s.
Yeah.
It doesn't really work outside of that context, unfortunately. And to make it appeal to a modern audience, you should make it the next generation of Police Squad.
Yeah. Because I think what they did with the A-Team, I like the A-Team movie.
I did like the A-Team movie. Yeah, it was good. Fun. It was the exact same movie as The Losers, which is based off a comic book.
I have to go watch that again. You say that every time.
They are essentially the exact same movie.
Like when he buys Lucky Charms. I don't remember Ted 2 all that well.
I don't remember Ted 2. I remember Ted, but not Ted 2.
Yeah, I don't remember Ted all that well. I remember laughing my ass off at Ted.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things where once you have a kid around, you cannot watch it.
Yeah. I mean, Sam Jones, that guy's awesome. I get a kick out of him. Flash Gordon. Forever he'll be Flash Gordon.
That's another perfect that is also another perfect person who understands his place in film culture.
Yeah.
Like, don't take yourself too serious.
No. I met him last year at a convention and chatting with him and his co-stars and how real he is about it. And, he may not have been the best person on the set of the movie, but since then he's really embraced that character and the popularity from that character.
There's another guy that played in a sci-fi movie and TV show. He was in charge. It wasn't that people didn't seem to like him.
I met him also, and he is truly a humble and amazing person when I met him. And he was he was more benevolent and giving and of the fans coming to see him than any of the Next Generation cast was.
Allison says it's the marching band that gets me. Allison reminds me of my dad when he watched Airplane 2, I believe. Where is it Airplane or Airplane 2, where the guy is shaving and he cuts himself? It's the only time my dad laughed. And he's like, "You'll understand when you shave." I'm like, "You didn't laugh at anything else. The movie wasn't funny, but that was hilarious." And he was like dying laughing, like tears in his eye laughing. I'm like, and even now when I'm like, it's not that funny. Like, why did you laugh so hard? No, the thing with William Shatner is it seems like the only people that don't like him are the original cast that acted with him.
I wouldn't say that. I would say George Takei doesn't like him. Everybody else had positive experiences with him.
Well, Leonard Nimoy didn't like him.
He did, because Leonard came on his interview show that he did in the early 2000s, and they had a wonderful conversation. And there was a little bit of an ego thing with, you let Leonard direct, now I want to direct type of thing going on, but there wasn't so much of a contention with them as there was with him and George.
Okay. It seems like, maybe I said it wrong. It seems like the only people that had a problem was like while they were filming. It seems like most of them accepted his apologies. But since then, like, you don't hear bad stuff about him.
Yeah.
Like, he's very self-aware that he made a mistake, right?
Yep.
He was a total jerk when he was doing Star Trek. He thought he was the whole reason why it was a success. And he was a big part of it.
He was a big part of it, but not the whole part, because clearly it was the relationship between the three of them.
Then you hear stuff about like Steve Carell, who knew that he had just won stuff for the Office, and when they did that strike, and he was like, "No, I'm not crossing the picket line," and he made sure people were paid, and and you hear that, and you're like, "Oh." So that guy pretty much said, "I'm not showing up while there's a strike."
And, it's the same kind of thing with Bill Murray. I mean, everybody says what an asshole Bill Murray is, but Bill Murray refused to do Ghostbusters 2 unless Ernie Hudson was involved. And he put his foot down and said, "No, I'm not walking on set until you hire Ernie Hudson to come back," because everybody at Sony wanted Ernie Hudson cut out of Ghostbusters 2. And he's done that for several other cast members along the way. And so you hear he's such an asshole, but then he does stuff like that. And so it's like, well, I mean, maybe he's just trying to get into character, or he may be hard to work with. I don't know. But
I'm not even going to read it.
No, don't read that one.
But I'm not going to disagree. All right.
No, we're not disagreeing.
The Goldman family and the Brown family get more justice watching that movie and all those movies than in real life, because they ain't never going to get a dime from them, because that's why I live in Florida.
Yeah.
Well, it is after midnight here for me. I did get a little nap in. Wasn't planning on it like that. Well, I could have slept right through it too. Like, I don't even know what caused me to wake up. And I see your message. I'm like,
because I sent 3 messages, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I didn't even look. Because I've read it, because it populated, and oh my god, I didn't know what time it was. I didn't know what time we started. I didn't have my glasses on, so I couldn't type in. And for some odd reason, on this browser, it doesn't populate.
Yeah. I agree, Allison. I was voting for 2.5, but we went with the original.
Down South asked, off topic, I know, don't answer if you don't want to. How's Airborne? Hadn't had a chance to watch the review yet.
Go watch the review. Hey, don't say anything. Go watch the review.
You'll be happy with them.
Go watch the review.
Yeah. No, he's awesome.
Yeah.
Dude,
He's one of my favorite characters. I'm so excited for this one.
I mean, my only issue is he doesn't look Native American enough.
My my only gripe is they didn't come with his actual weapon, but I have my Mark II Designs version, so I'm going to use that one.
Odd that you would say that because.
Yeah.
Also, if you have the Mark II design one, make sure you don't poke your eye out.
Yeah, because it's sharp.
The bayonet is like a real bayonet, right? And that gun is long.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the review, I actually do put that on it. I show it what it looks like with the Crimson Guard. And then I do put this nice
there
little arsenal of pew-pews.
Yep.
I really
they make good stuff too.
Yes, they do. And I don't care about not having removable magazines. That's good for pictures, but you don't really need it too much.
Yeah.
And I also do point out how of course I had to make a little comment about it. How oh my God, look, even in the 80s, they had warped weapons. Tony asked me, he's like, do you have Airborne? I'm like, I have a couple. A couple? I'm like, yeah, I acquired a couple. I've acquired many over the years, but I love Airborne.
Yeah, that's a good one, Allison. It'd be nice if it was Frank Drebin Jr. That'd be great.
But like, could Liam Neeson even be his son?
Between the two of them, Lisa Marie Presley and Leslie Nielsen, I think so.
I'm thinking about the age-wise.
Oh, don't worry about that part.
Liam Neeson seemed old when he did Star Wars, which is in the 90s.
Yeah, but Leslie Nielsen always seemed older. Maybe it's just the white hair.
Do you mean how like Steve Martin has always been 68 years old?
Well, yeah, and his comedy routine hasn't changed in 50 years.
No, but Murders Only is an amazing TV show if you haven't watched it.
Oh yeah, I mean he's got some good stuff for sure.
But I remember I watched The Jerk and I looked at how old he was and I'm like, dude, he looks like this. He looks the exact same as he does now.
Right.
Which is good for now, but back then I'm not sure you wanted to look that old. And one last thing before we get out of here. Down South says, I did break down and finally buy a couple gridiron things this week. Should have them this weekend. Did they ship them? They're not always the fastest shippers. A matter of fact, Mark, if you're watching, I'm waiting for you to reply to me.
So Leslie Nielsen was born in 1926, and Liam Neeson was born in the 60s.
Wow, how long would he die?
I forgot how long ago he died. 52. Sorry, he was born in 52. Liam Neeson. Yeah, but Leslie was born a long time ago.
Wow. He'd be approaching 100. He didn't die that long ago either.
It wasn't that long ago.
Because I was surprised when we were going through all those movies, and I'm like, oh my God, Leslie Nielsen was still alive doing these movies.
Yeah. Yeah, because Leslie Nielsen, yeah. Let's see. Where is it? Anyway.
We're like, George Papard seems to have died forever ago.
Right.
He
died. He died in 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of those movies were like, I was like, oh wow, this is like 2009.
Yeah. He was 84 when he passed away. So yeah, he was born in 26. So technically, he could be a son.
Yeah. I guess, like I said, he always seemed old, but never seemed to age.
Yeah.
But
That's
guess
true.
You said he was born in 52?
Yep. And Leslie Nielsen was born in 26.
So when he played Qui-Gon Jinn, he was younger than I am. Why am I not wise?
Why are you not an ancient Jedi full of the wisest Jedi who ever existed was Qui-Gon Jinn?
Yes.
And there's evidence to support that.
All right. Well, we'll call it a night. You guys know where to find me on Monday nights. Matthew, where can they find you? Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Before you do, everyone that is still watching on the replay, my main account for the Instagram is back to the original, A Punk with Toys. The other one will be a backup. I will post some stuff from time to time, but mostly Matthew even agreed I should be using that one. So, Matthew, where they can find you?
Well, hey, I had my Instagram debacle as well, so I have 2 Instagram accounts also. Mammoth Nester's Action Figure Blog and Mammoth Nester's Action Figure Blog 2. Go figure. And the 2 is for my B-sides of stuff. I'm going to post some stuff on there occasionally, but my main account is the Mammoth Nester's Action Figure or Mammoth's Action Figure Blog. I post every day, mostly G.I. Joe, but I've got, I'm loving these guys, so there's going to be some more stuff with these guys. Jada's killing it with their stuff, but I've got some Mafex X-Men stuff coming up, so lots of good content on there you guys can watch. Again, I'm investigating, looking at doing a professional podcast at some point, but we'll see about that.
Well, that's new news to me, so.
Yeah, I've got my 27-year veteran in my field is wanting to do a podcast with me, so we'll talk about it and see if we can do something
professional.
Yeah.
Okay, that's probably why I didn't know. All right, thank you guys all for tuning in. I had a blast again. I love doing this. All right, take care. See you guys next time.
Have a good night.
That's the wrong one.